During the 20th century, a group of young women unknowingly became pioneers in the fight for occupational safety and women's rights. Their stories about courage, perseverance, and the devastating consequences of corporate greed.
It all began when French husband and wife scientists Pierre and Marie Curie discovered what was often believed to be a miracle element. They discovered radium. Radium was successful in the treatment of cancer, skin, and prostate. As a result, people began putting radium in most household items, including cosmetics, food, and toothpaste.
In 1914, the United States Radium Corporation was formed in Essex County, New Jersey. This company was formed to help the United States military make better watches. The watch dials would be painted with this new miracle element, radium. This would make the watches glow in the dark so the military could use them at night. The United States Radium Corporation would hire young women to paint the dials. Because of their slim hands, they would be able to paint the tiny details that would be on the face of the watch. The majority of the women were ages 14, 15, and 16. However, they hired girls as young as 11.
Most of the girls were from working-class families that lived near the factory in Orange and South Orange, New Jersey. However, some girls lived as far away as Montclair and Bloomfield, New Jersey. Many of these girls were also the daughters of recent immigrants to the United States. They would get paid a penny and a half per dial, which was a lot of cash for poor working girls. To paint the tiny numbers on the clocks, they needed an incredibly small brush. The ends needed to be pointed. They were told that the best way to make the sharp point was to put the bristles in their mouths and twirl them with their lips, which was called lip pointing. The woman had no idea whatsoever about how deadly radium could be after knowing that radium had health benefits. They had no problem with putting the brushes in their mouths.
In 1917, Grace Fryer, a young woman from Morris County, New Jersey, was one of the first women hired by the U.S. Radium Corporation. She began working for the company on April 10th, 4 days after the United States entered World War I. Grace had 2 older brothers already serving in the war and felt that she was doing her part to support the war effort by working at the corporation. Over the following months, approximately 4,000 workers were employed across different factories in New Jersey, Ohio, and Canada to paint watch dials. The corporation scientists were aware of the hazards of working with radium, and accordingly, they took necessary safety measures by wearing protective gear. However, they failed to inform the women who were working with the dangerous element about the hazards and the need for protection. As a result, only the scientists wore protective gear whenever they came into contact with the element.
Taking into consideration that radium was safe while working, the girls would use radium paint or luminescent paint to paint their nails, cheeks, and even their teeth. They found this amusing and appealing. Unfortunately, the girls who worked with radium started to fall ill in a horrifying way. Initially, the small doses of radium did not affect the girls and were not traceable. However, as time passed, the girls breathed in exceptionally large amounts of radium dust and paint while painting watches. This exposure to large amounts of radium caused severe health problems for the women.
When the girls had gone to the dentist, they were puzzled. The dentists would remove decaying teeth from some of these women who worked at the factories, and pieces of the girls' jaws would come out as well. Eventually, this earned the medical definition of radium necrosis, or radium jaw. Radium was deposited in the bone marrow, but unlike calcium, it didn't strengthen the bone. Instead, it degraded the bones over time, making them brittle and eventually destroying them.
Another woman named Molly Maggia had also worked at a Radium corporation and had it worse. She had to leave the factory after she came down with something that perplexed the doctors. Her jaw completely disintegrated with the slightest touch to her jaw. Eventually, tumors would form in her jugular vein, causing her to drown in her blood, killing her at the age of 24. The girls working at the factory were experiencing various health issues apart from dental problems. They had developed ulcers on their skin and tumors on their legs, hips, and faces. The reason for their condition was the radium they were ingesting while at work, which their bodies were treating as a substitute for calcium. The radium then began to accumulate in their bones and teeth, causing their bones, muscles, arms, legs, face, and teeth to become extremely weak and unable to tolerate any pressure. The girls realized there was a problem that had to do with radium when they noticed at night while in the mirror that their bodies would glow in the dark, indicating a case of radium poisoning. Despite their best efforts to seek help from the U.S. Radium Corporation, they were unfortunately denied assistance. By this point, these girls started dying.
In 1924, the U.S. Radium Corporation commissioned a report by public health experts from Harvard University, Cecile and Kathleen Drinker. When the report showed that radium was the cause of the girls' problems, the corporation rewrote the report claiming that the girls were in perfect health. The corporation submitted the report still with Drinker's name attached to the New Jersey Department of Labor. The company's distrust did not stop there. Not only did they cover up the fact that the women were getting sick from radium, they discredited the women's deaths by encouraging doctors to write the girls' cause of death as syphilis.
5 girls, including Grace Fryer, began looking for over 2 years to find a lawyer to take their case against U.S. Radium. A young Newark, New Jersey attorney named Raymond Berry was brave enough to take the case in January of 1928. Unfortunately, before the trial even began, 4 of the workers had died. They tried to make the cases longer so that the girls would all die before the case could end. By that time, Grace Fryer had lost all her teeth and could not sit up in a chair without the support of a brace. During the second hearing, the girls were so sick that they could not raise their hands to take the oath of the witness stand. Eventually, during the second trial, they were all too sick to even attend the courtroom. Berry, the girls and the U.S. Radium Corporation would make an out-of-court settlement.
Each girl received $10,000, equivalent to $151,000 and $2,024, as well as $600 a year, the equivalent of $9,000 plus $12 a week, equivalent to $200 until their death. U.S. Radium would also pay all legal expenses and all medical expenses. Berry was not satisfied with the outcome of the trial. He felt that the victims did not receive the compensation that they deserved. It was later discovered that the judge was a stockholder in U.S. Radium. Within the next few months, all the women who sued U.S. Radium would die. It is widely believed that the women are glowing in their coffins due to radium ingestion. The families of the women used the money they received for their funerals. The story of the Radium Girls plays an important role in New Jersey and American history in health, physics, and workers' rights. The case made significant changes in industrial safety standards and led to OSHA's development, enhancing conditions for many. These women serve as a powerful reminder of workers' rights.